See, told you I'd be back. Okay, what am I working on again? Oh, yeah, big gun. Right, what we've got here then is our leg, and pretty fine leg it is too, quite frankly. I don't mind saying so myself. Now, what I'm going to do is make another couple of legs to go kind of behind this one. Now, I'm not going to animate this. If I was, there's a pivot point down here, but I'm just not going to. Not at the minute anyway. So, I'm going to attach these together. Let's use the attach. And there. And I'm going to press H just to make sure I've only got one thing in my scene. And if I just do a quick reset X form, just to make sure that there's nothing in here untoward as well. I know it resets all my bounding boxes and everything, but I don't really care because I'm that hard. Okay, now what I want to do is go to my top view and use my angle snap, turn this 90 degrees this way, and then I'm going to take its position and move it down here. Before I do that, I think I'm going to center my pivot actually. So effect pivot only, center to object. After I've done that, I can now go into my world space, well, into my absolute movement tools down here, do 0, 0, 0, drop into perspective, there we go, and there's our leg. Isn't it lovely? Okay, now I want to make a mirror copy of our leg as a copy, stick on the Z axis, what a lovely noise, and click OK. Okay, now, as you may notice, it's kind of upside down at the moment, which isn't particularly cool. So I'll just flip it over 180 degrees, and flip it around 180 degrees as well. And pay more attention next time to what I'm doing, incidentally. I can only do that because the pivot's exactly in the middle, by the way. If it wasn't, I wouldn't be able to do that. Okay, and let's just look at positioning this leg here. Go to my top viewport, get rid of that grid. Now I'm going to attach my pivot from this leg using the align tool to this pivot here, making sure it's on the X, Y, and Z. Reason being, I want to basically do a symmetry of this entire tripod leg here, so that I've got three. There we are. Just on the Y-axis there, compared to edible poly. Now I have three legs. And you'll see it's a nice sturdy design rather than the splay leg, which I went for in the original tripod. Okay, now take this leg and these legs. These legs here, I'm going to reset the X forms again. Okay, and I believe these are probably inside out, which is why they're so blooming dark. So if I do a Control A and just flip them, now they're not. Now for some attachment. There we go. Press F3, sorry, F4. Now remember these extra bits at the end here that I created. I'm going to just trim those off. Make sure I'm not biting off more than I should. There we go. And that gives us these shapes here. Now, what I'm going to do is grab my border here. Just move it to about there. Now I'm going to cap that. Whoops. And poly mode bevel. Not a very big bevel, otherwise I'll break those verts there. Now over here, overall shape that I'm getting. I'm going to grab this border here and this border here. Move them to about there. Cap. And then extrude. Extrude them both to about there. Because I'm trying to get a look as if this piece here, just bevel that, same as last setting, so it's fine. Trying to get a look as if this piece here basically can break down into different components, if you know what I mean. Okay, that's fine. What I find interesting is you can tell now, when you look at the model, that this piece here was uneven compared to the other ones, yeah, because it's kind of heading off in the wrong direction and all sorts. But what I can do actually then is go to my left viewport and just press F3 so I can see what I'm doing. Yeah, there they are there. Grab there and there. And literally just sync them in with the rest of it. And if I use my rotate tool here, I can just kind of turn off angle snap. Straighten this out. There we go. Drop back in perspective and zoom out. There, that's a lot more even now. So let's get these pieces here all kind of matched up together again. So first I'm going to inset, then a quick bevel, just reduce the height on that, then bridge. You'll see now these pieces are all kind of holding together to make a platform, like so. Let's pull back. And at the sides here, just to give it a kind of extra, rugged kind of, can add on extra bits. That's what I'm going for. I was kind of trying to explain that a bit whilst trying to model. It's kind of going for a modular look, so you can slap on more parts or whatever. It's supposed to be a very heavy-duty looking weapon anyway, so... There we go. I might just continue that off at the front here, here, and at the back here. Now, as I see there, I've got mesh errors, so I don't think I'm going to, unless I can actually just trim out those verts. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea. So, Control, select by vertex, and that selects all surrounding ones, and then just do a quick weld. If I just increase it a little bit, that kills them all off. Now if I do an inset, and then a bevel, it should be fine. There. Okay, so that worked nicely. Now, what we're going to do is, first of all, check and see how much time I've spent recording, because I'm going to have to build the clamps for our big gun. Okay, and basically we're going for a 3-barreled gun, so that's quite useful for us because we've got 3 blocks to rest it on. So all I need to do really is build the 1 barrel and then copy it. Or I can just put it straight into this. Yeah, I'll put it straight into this. So I select here, here, and here. I'm going to do an inset and reduce the inset down to about there. And then do a scale, like that. A little bit wider. There we are. Now, do an extrude up. and out. Like so. Actually, before I do, I know you hate it when I do this kind of thing, but before I do, I'd quite like just to check something. No, that's fine. Okay, extrude. And just move that to about there. Then extrude a little bit more. And then finally extrude like that. Okay. So that gives us these three basic shapes here. Now, select my polygon again. I'm going to do an inset to about there. Okay, now I want to detach these three as clones. Get them selected. And I'm going to increase their width, well, length, by scaling them. Now I'm going to flip them. Control A to select by edge all of them. And then I'm just going to hold Shift whilst moving. Bring them up like that. Then cap them. Now, bring them down. Oops, wrong way. Still got them selected by that one. Just center their pivots. Okay, so we've got these three exciting kind of blocks here. We're going to use these as cookie cutters. So there we go. You may notice there's yon bloody big holes inside our models. Don't worry, we can fix that in just a minute. Okay, so convert to editable poly. And let's send in the repairs. So just going to bridge that. And that. And that. Now for some capping. And I'm going to do them one at a time, so cap. And this gives me a chance to, pardon me, this gives me a chance to do some minor repairs, because you can see we've created some kind of extra stuff at the top here that we don't need anyway. So target weld will take care of that. And now a couple of cuts. Spin that round. And do it again. And we're going to do this, well, I think it's 6 times in total, really, isn't it? And you know what? I'm going to make you watch while I do it every single time as well. So, you know, maybe you could go and turn the kettle on if you're a bit bored by watching it. Or maybe I'll say something really outrageous and political. You know, I don't know, vote Bob Dole or something, I don't know. Is he even alive? I have no idea. Right, cap. Cap. I'm going to go into the cuts. And again over here. I do like a nice complex piece of modelling. I particularly like it when you can model something like this and basically have it as just one big complicated piece of modelling. Okay, take that and there. Just going to cap them out. And over here. Okay, now my throat tends to get a bit dry when I'm recording. Let's do some target welds. Here we go. Doot 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 to there, and to there. Oops, a daisy. Did I even move the right one there? Yes, I did. Hooray. And there. I've got a vert right in the middle for some reason. There we go. No, I haven't. Okay, next stage then is, unfortunately for us, going to be some chamfers. So let's just see what loop does for us if we even attempt to use it. Nothing good really. So I'll just go straight to my select tool and just do it the old-fashioned way. Remember kids, if you don't chamfer, you'll wake up one night to discover that Pete Draper has stolen all your shoes. Because Pete hates people that don't chamfer. Unless it's for low polygon modelling. We should make him into the Father Christmas of 3D or something. I'll send him a beard. There we are. I was going to chamfer that. Yeah, I'll keep it chamfered. These smaller edges down here, I'm not going to bother with, but for that angle there, I am going to chamfer it. And I'm going to turn on ignore backfacing, otherwise I'm going to be here for years. Okay, and now over here. Okay. And select up here. There's not really much point me kind of going on and on about how fun it is selecting this edge and stuff. You're probably going to realise by now that it's about as soul destroying as you get for 3D. Apart from if you were using Poser, in which case you get what you deserve. But I'm afraid it's one of those things that's kind of got to be done. If it's any consolation, we will be using the placement tool, so I know everyone loves the placement tool. Hell, I'll even do a quick how to find it on 3D Palace for people who don't know where the placement tool is tutorial. There we go. And over to here. Must admit I do quite like Max 9. It is a little bit smoother than Max 8. Even though it does irritatingly still crash. And when you interview people from Autodesk, they really don't like you pointing out about their sudden crashing that 3D Studio Max sometimes does. So I'll make sure I mention it every time I interview them. Okay, so we've got these little fellas here now, all ready for a chamfering. Put that down to about there. There we go. See, that wasn't too bad, was it? Oh, stretch my arms. I'm sure you all wanted to hear that. Okay, and yeah, I think I can probably do a little bit of placement tool stuff. So first up, I'm going to make a box and just use my auto grid just to drag it out from the top here. And then I can use this basically as my tool table to put things on. Now, get nice and close down here. And simplest kind of add-on part is just a rivet head. If I can get it to work on this. Where's it gone? Grr. There it is. So just a simple rivet head like that. And what I'll do is I'll just manually adjust the sides. Move it over here. Oh, I see. This box is uneven. Stupid bloody thing. Alright, I'll just do it the old-fashioned way. Box off the floor. Right, now build the greebles on this. About the right size and shape. Just want to reduce the sides to about 14, because we don't need that many sides on this. Convert to edible poly. Pull this down and then do a quick bevel. There we go. And this will become rivet 1. There'll be a lot of rivets, by the way. And then probably could do with a slightly larger one. So, again, a cylinder. This time a little bit wider. And this will allow me to kind of cut loose a bit with the old beveling, which I greatly enjoy. I'll just have to use the manual for this. Okay, it just gives you a chance to kind of make some different shapes on here. And I'm just going to use my scale tool. Quick non-uniform scale like that. And just reset the X form on it. Okay, now let's find where I left my placement tool. So, finding placement tool. If I go into 3D Palace and I go to my forum and I'll do a search on, where's my search button gone? Here it is. Placement tool, and then wait. Now someone here needed the placement tool, so let's go and have a quick look. Let's see if I can find the damn thing. It's topic 8144, is it? See, even I have trouble finding the placement tool. And there it is there. So, if you don't have the placement tool, which is a free example in your 3ds Max folder, under script, just going to copy this lot, and then go to my Max script, new script, file, save as, and in my script I'm going to call it my placement tool, run script, placement tool. Now, source object, that's this. And I'm going to pick my distribution object 1 and 2. And now I can place them on my model. Now it's placing both simultaneously, and I don't want both placed at once, so I'm going to use Rivet 1 first, and then I'm going to use the other one. So hitting F4 so I can see where I'm placing stuff. I now can start the riveting process. And what a riveting process that is. Ho, ho, ho. Don't use too many. You really don't need many. For example, you don't need to place them there because you're not going to get them there. It's basically best just to think about kind of the shapes you're building, and then you'll get an idea of where you really should place things like this. I mean, really, we're building science fiction objects. We shouldn't need them. They should use single-piece formed plastic. But you know what it's like. They never do. It's up to you if you want to put some underneath. I usually tend to, just in case we get a slightly lower angle in our shot. I also tend to keep my rivets normally on only a couple of planes. I don't kind of over-rivet. If you want an example of over-riveting, early Warhammer models were kind of famous for that, I suppose you could say. Used to get far too many rivet pieces on those. I mean, I could run 4 around here, but there's one on the top of it. I don't really need to. If we have a quick look at the feet here, perhaps just apply a couple down the bottom. But again, only on the one plane. It's certainly not underneath. I mean, even then, I think these guys are probably a little bit I'd probably place them a little bit closer to the corner, like that. Or even, I think here would probably work better. Just on one side here. Don't worry, by the way, if they don't match up and they're not perfectly even. They don't need to be. We want to give it the impression that it was kind of perhaps repaired a few times or whatever, you know? I mean, whilst military machines do tend to be very precise in the way they're built, once the military gets a hold of them, they tend to be built and rebuilt because the last thing they want to do is spend a fortune on some new ones. It's part of the whole built-for-purpose thing that Lucas came up with ages ago, where he decided that everything is built for purpose. It's not just built for, like, glamorizing and show. So that really doesn't explain what the hell Jar Jar Binks was for. All the bloody Ewoks. However, if you look at the sci-fi designs, they are very much there for a purpose. They're not there for kind of glam or anything like that. Okay, turn off this distribution and turn on the second distribution object. See how well that goes in. That's great. So, one there. Basically what I'm doing is I'm kind of slamming it 3 to a side down here. And here. Not on the inside. Eventually, by the way, you'll kind of get a feel for where to place your objects. You will make mistakes a few times when you first start using Placement Tool. If you don't, then you're a jammy bastard, quite frankly. But no, just take your time. If you make a mistake, just Control Z, do it again until you get it right. You can adjust the size of this kind of enormous placement target, by the way. Just I like mine nice and big because I do. And that's all there is to it. Once we're done, all we'll do is we'll just add all these parts back together again. That's as long as Max 9 doesn't crash on me, of course. Yeah, we'll add all these parts back together again. Ooh, see? That one was off. Close my placement tool window, and then we can start on building the lower part of our exciting gun. Woo. Okay. And round. Okay, now, try and straighten my ears a bit. I'll just find my toolbox, which is over here, and delete those. Now if I select my main mesh and attach, we should have quite a few to attach. So it'll take a moment. There we go. And now you can see we're starting to get a kind of riveted shape coming together. I mean, these are only tiny little rivet details here. We'll be adding some much larger kind of manual greebles, I suppose you'd call them. But for the time being, that'll do. Okay, well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next bit.